Ranked waiver wire pickups for every single position for week 6 of fantasy football. Let's go. What's going on, Couch fam? Welcome to the waiver wire pickups video. We do this every Tuesday. Let's go on right to the waivers. And before I do that, I just want to announce bye weeks have started. It is week 6, and the 4 teams that are on bye are the Lions, Texans, Titans, and the Raiders. And first, quarterback already is going to be my sleeper ad of the week, Geno Smith. Oh boy, I was wrong about this guy. He's actually much better than Russell Wilson this year. What a crazy NFL/fantasy football season we are having, where Geno Smith is a top 6 quarterback, and he has a pretty good matchup. I wish I added him before. I wish I didn't dismiss him, and I was totally wrong about him. I could really use him in one of my leagues where I drafted Trey Lance. I really could use him. Luckily, I missed out on Jared Goff and got the win last week. But Geno Smith would make for a great QB2 on that team. He's going up against the Cardinals, and I like targeting quarterbacks and wide receivers and even running backs sometimes that go against teams like the Cardinals or Chiefs, where there's a potential shootout, and I definitely smell one here. Geno Smith, home game against the Cardinals, could be high scoring, but regardless of his matchup, I like Geno Smith. I still think he's going to be a top 9, top 10, top 11 QB moving forward, and that's good enough, warranted to be added in your league, at least as a backup. Lockett and DK Metcalf are both looking really good. Carson Wentz has a shoulder injury, should be super minor, should be nothing. But after Geno Smith, it's really wishy-washy here. Jimmy Garoppolo has a couple good matchups. Again, and he's going to be facing the Cardinals, of course, NFC West. So I'm looking for these high-scoring games, these good matchups. The Falcons, that might be a game similar to the Panthers. I don't think it would be as lopsided. I think the Falcons might be able to score a little bit, but without Cordell Patterson, who's basically their best weapon, this could be a bad one. The Niners may not need to throw a lot, but then he faces the Chiefs the very next week. So there are some sneaky matchups and sneaky potential for shootouts with Jimmy Garoppolo. So if you're in a little bit deeper league and guys like Geno Smith aren't available, consider Jimmy G. I have Jimmy G in a couple leagues, a couple redraft leagues, and then a couple dynasty leagues. And one main reason is he lines up pretty well. I think it's a league with Stafford, lines up pretty well when Stafford is on bye. Jimmy G, good matchup. I think when Derek Carr is on bye, same thing. Jimmy G, good matchup. So look into the schedule and see how it lines up with your quarterbacks, your starting quarterback schedule. Deshaun Watson, I found surprising. He's not really added in a lot of leagues. Now, he's only going to play a handful of games for you in fantasy. And if you're not making the playoffs, that's only like 2 games. Still should be rostered in a little bit more leagues. So I found it a little bit surprising. If you have a deep bench in your league, so that's like 7 bench spots or deeper, consider adding him. Most people, this would be a bad decision, to be just quite honest, because bye weeks are a hidden, injuries are a hidden, and you won't be able to roster and stash so many players. You probably have rookies on your bench, other quarterbacks, and Deshaun Watson's not going to be able to play until week 13. That's kind of an eternity. Still, I wanted to put him on this list. Zach Wilson actually putting up decent fantasy points. May not have a ton of upside now, but if he improves, because the Jets are looking much better, they're looking like a better team. They're winning games. They have a lot of weapons. Garrett Wilson, Elijah Moore, who's kind of irrelevant. That's how good the team is. Corey Davis, a couple tight ends, a couple running backs. Team's looking really good. They're getting a little bit healthier at the O-line. Who else we got? And yeah, you don't really want any of these guys, but Justin Fields, a couple decent matchups. PJ Walker will probably be the starting quarterback this week. Baker Mayfield slated to miss like 2 to 6 weeks with an ankle injury. Sam Darnold, don't know what's going on here. A lot of funky stuff with the Panthers, and I honestly don't trust these reports. I feel like Sam Darnold should be getting healthy and should be back around this week, but he's not. He may miss multiple more weeks, so I don't know what the heck is going on here. All I know is as of right now, PJ Walker's probably going to start, and when Sam Darnold is healthy, I mean, who knows what's really going on? Darnold will probably start. And that's only in super flex, super deep leagues. You want to consider starting a Panthers quarterback. For running backs, now most people, they're not going to have any good running backs nor wide receivers on waivers, but I did want to add them. Stop commenting stuff like, hey, Ken Walker's not available in any leagues. This is for everybody. Just go down to number 4 or 5. Just skip the top 3. And I think you'll be able to find a guy who's available. So Ken Walker is not available in any of my leagues. He's a guy that I really liked during the draft process in preseason. And I've always said that Rashad Penny is one of the most injury-prone NFL players. And he got injured this year and is out for the year with a broken leg. So Ken Walker is going to be the workhorse running back for the Seahawks. Maybe a little DJ Dallas, maybe a little Travis Homer. I think Homer's still injured, but it's going to be a whole lot of Ken Walker, a must-add in every single league. Rashad White, I always talk about him. Brian Robinson, we already know the story here. These guys are probably already rostered. Eno Benjamin, probably rostered in less than 50% of leagues and platforms. Eno Benjamin should be the starter this week. Now, Connor has a minor injury, but he always has an injury every week, every other week. So they're downplaying it. Maybe he plays, maybe he doesn't, maybe he's limited. I don't trust it. Also, Darrell Williams is injured. I think they just signed Corey Clement like an hour ago before I hit record on this video. Eno Benjamin, pretty much a must-add in a 12-team league. Probably want to add him in a 10-team league as well. Jaylen Warren, great handcuff for Najee. Even if you don't have Najee, probably want to go get him. I was right about Tyler Algier. Putting up 4 fantasy points is not going to cut it in fantasy football. And now they face an even worse, worse matchup, even better defense in the Niners. They face the Bucks, and now they face the Niners. That's not going to be looking good. So I didn't want people to spend a lot of FAB on a guy like Tyler Algier. Now, he does have a couple decent matchup. The Bengals aren't a great matchup, not a bad one. Panthers are a decent matchup. Chargers are a good matchup, so on and so forth. But by the time those matchups come, Cordell Patterson, Damian Williams, those guys are going to start to come back. And I already said Tyler Algier, not really a super talented workhorse as it is. And in super deep leagues, we have Samaje Perine, Matt Breida, who's a weak handcuff at best, Joshua Kelly, who's kind of taking over that RB2 role, but Eckler's on absolute fire the last couple games. And we have Tevin Coleman. I didn't see this coming. Did you see this coming? Because I didn't see this coming, but Tevin Coleman all of a sudden is relevant and balling out. I don't know how that happened. Moving on to wide receivers. It's really the top 3, maybe top 4 if Tony can stay healthy. But try to get one of these top 3 guys. If you need a flex, if you need a wide receiver 3 this week, go get yourself a Jacoby Myers. Go get yourself a Tyler Boyd with T. Higgins injured. Go get yourself a Alec Pierce. Hopefully Matt Ryan stops sucking so freaking bad. Alec Pierce, he would really be something if he had a real quarterback. Hopefully Matt Ryan can turn it around a little bit. And Kadarius Toney, always been urging to get this guy and stash him, but he just suffered another hamstring injury on the other hamstring. So I don't know what's going on here. Hopefully he gets healthy. I did stash him in a couple leagues. He will be the, I think, number one wide receiver by default on the Giants, or at least will be a starter for sure at that position for the New York Giants. Donovan Peoples-Jones is a stash. Rondale Moore, good pickup for this week. He won't be that relevant once Hopkins comes back. Lots of weapons there. Hollywood, Ertz, and Hopkins. Those are three kind of alpha receivers, and Rondale Moore would be the number 4 guy. And also they might throw to the running back position a little bit. Josh Palmer, always a relevant guy when Keenan Allen is out. Nico Collins, but he's on bye. Van Jefferson, interested to see if anyone on the Rams could do anything other than Higbee and Cooper Kupp. Maybe worth a stash. Probably won't pan out, but I'm stashing him in a couple leagues because we have IR spots in most of our leagues. And also Darnell Mooney. He's getting 5 targets, 6 targets. Worth an add in deeper leagues, worth a stash. And to be honest, I'm really hurting in 2 leagues. Have about nearly a dozen injuries in each of those leagues, and I think I would be grateful to get Darnell Mooney. Please give him back to me. So people are hurting. Excuse me. Sip the juice and move on to tight ends. If you need a tight end, go get Hayden Hurst or Taysom Hill. Look, Taysom Hill is a cheat code. He is really good, but his superpowers are going to be limited if Jameis Winston and Kamara are healthy. Now, he'll still be good. Maybe 7 fantasy points, maybe 11, maybe even closer to 20 fantasy points. It's hard to predict. So are tight ends. I'm kind of saying this just because people will hate on me for not putting Taysom Hill number 1 and Hayden Hurst at number 2. I think it's about tied. I'm just giving the edge to Hayden Hurst because I like the targets he got soon as Higgins got hurt. So if Higgins is playing, I'd put Taysom Hill number 1. But if Higgins is out, I'm going to leave it as is. Jaguars are very hard to predict in fantasy football, whether it's Marvin Jones, Zay Jones, Christian Kirk. I don't know what's going on. And I am a certified Evan Ingram hater, a certified Evan Ingram doubter. I'm telling you right now, this man looked like a football player last week. 10 targets. He was playing really well. I mean, he didn't look like Evan Ingram, maybe because of the jersey number change. I don't know. This guy looked different to me, and I have some faith in him. My gut tells me he's going to be better moving forward. Then again, we could see another one-catch performance like we had earlier this year. It's tough to predict. Nonetheless, if I'm desperate for a tight end, which I am in one league where I drafted Dalton Schultz and he could be out, I'm going to go get Evan Ingram. Robert Tonyan coming off that ACL. This is another gut feeling I have. I think he's going to do better the remainder of the season. Now, he's a guy you pretty much can't start. This is not a super high-powered offense where they're going to be scoring 4, 5+ touchdowns, or Aaron Rodgers is going to be throwing 3+ touchdowns every week like he used to last year. It's not that. Also, Robert Tonyan barely getting close to 50% of snaps at tight end. He's splitting time. But like I said, coming off that ACL, he was kind of barely good to go for week 1. He could be ramping up his usage, getting more acclimated, trusting the knee more, maybe week 6 or so, right? The ramp-up period is, let's say, 4 weeks for an ACL. And we might see that with a guy like Michael Gallup. In about 2 weeks, Michael Gallup might be at 90% or 100% strength and pretty much looking like his old self. That might be with Robert Tonyan. Maybe give it another week or so, and maybe the ramp up will be there. Or maybe not. Maybe that's just me and my gut talking. But there's really nothing pointing towards him being great other than I just have a feeling. But just to make sure, he is a stash. You kind of don't want to start him. Then we have Irv Smith, Daniel Bellinger, Hunter Henry, only if Jonnu Smith is hurt. Noah Fant slightly above Will Dissly. I think Fant's the guy there. Dissly's just scoring the touchdowns and fooling fantasy owners. They're both about tied, though. John Bates in super duper deep leagues if Logan Thomas is hurt again. And we have Kyle Granson / Mo Alley Cox / Jelani Woods. I prefer Kyle Granson out of the three, but it's essentially tight end roulette in Indianapolis. For defenses, don't ask me about the Bucks or Niners. They're rostered in every single league, and they're a super elite, okay? Let's get that out the way. There's still some more elite, trustworthy options, and that's going to be the Rams D going against the Panthers. Now, they're rostered in like close to 80% of leagues, so they're not going to be available in your league, but there's a small chance they are. Going against the Panthers, they don't have a quarterback. They don't have a coach. They don't have a heart. They're like tanking or going to be, I don't know. They suck. They're done. They're demolished. So the Rams will just, they're already bulldozed over. So the Rams are just going to lay some asphalt over this and get the smooth win. Eagles D, I like every single week, and I like them this week. Packers D let us down last week, but going against the Jets, they'll still be a solid start. And if you don't have one of those like top 5 defenses, consider the Commanders D going against the Bears. This will be a close, low-scoring game, or just go with the other side of the coin, especially if we see some kind of injury pop up. Go with the Bears D going against Washington. Ravens D going against the Giants. Giants probably won't score a lot of points. Ravens D is good. They're playing zone now. They're switching it up. They have a lot of potential. Some injuries there that's going to hurt them. They just can't blow it like they've been blowing it in the second half. So I have faith in the Ravens D. I have faith that the Giants won't score a ton of points, but the Ravens have blown it before, so I don't trust them that much. Nonetheless, in a realistic scenario, Ravens D is probably available, and they might be the best option for you this week. I mean, unless you want the Commanders D or Bears D, but Ravens D is a good option, all considering. Vikings D going against the Dolphins, not a good option unless Tua and Bridgewater are out. Then I love them. Browns D going against the Patriots. We got the Colts D going against the Jags. Jags don't typically score a lot of points, at least not the last couple weeks. Chargers D going against the Broncos. Broncos don't score a lot of touchdowns. And then we got the Jaguars D going against the Colts. For kickers, we have some elite options here. Ryan Suckup, I absolutely loved him last week, and I love him this week. He did okay last week. Bucks did go for a 2-point conversion, so that was a little bit unlucky. He would have got one more fantasy point. Going against the Steelers, he should be absolutely amazing, electric. An elite quarterback, elite kicker, getting a little excited about kickers here. Matt Gay, another super elite option. Of course, if you have the usual suspects, Justin Tucker, etc., start those guys. But Ryan Suckup and Matt Gay this week are super elite. If you can't get those guys, go for Crosby, Folk, Harrison Butker, I like every week. If he's healthy, he should be returning within a week or two. At least I'm hopeful for that. Don't have much more information other than it's an ankle injury. Cade York, he's been missing some key kicks this year, and I was really worried about that. I would like to be a fan of his, but I don't quite trust him. Decent matchup against the Patriots. And we're already in deep league territory, by the way. Also got Chase McLaughlin. He is the Colts kicker. Will Lutz, Robbie Gould. I do like him quite a bit. Kind of a low upside kicker, but he is injured, so keep that in mind. And then we have Greg Joseph. When I don't start him, he goes off. When I do start him, he poops all over my fantasy football team, and it ends up being really stinky. Guys, I read every single YouTube comment. Thank you so much for all the support. Make sure you subscribe to the Fantasy Couch YouTube channel. Turn that bell notification on so you don't miss future videos. We also have a second YouTube channel. Go subscribe to that right now. It's called Fantasy Couch podcast. See you on there. See you on the next video, next live stream. Good luck this week. See you.